Get ready for a special edition of the CATCast. This is one you won't want to miss. In this exceptional episode, hosted by CAT's Executive Director and CEO Faye DiMassimo, we'll be joined by the esteemed Executive Director of Savannah Jazz, Paula Fogarty. Together, they will delve into an engaging conversation encompassing transit, community connectivity, and the highly anticipated Savannah Jazz Festival.
CATCast viewers, welcome to a special edition of CATCast. We have with us today Paula Fogarty, who is the Executive Director of Savannah Jazz. So we are so excited to hear all about the Jazz Festival today and about how both of our missions align with CAT and the Savannah Jazz Festival and Savannah Jazz in aligning and connecting people. Paula, so good to have you with us today.
Well, thank you for having me on this very cool dot bus.
Absolutely.
Aren't these the best for getting around?
They are the best for getting around and the best for connecting to the Jazz Festival, right?
Absolutely.
Hear that, viewers. This is your way to get to the Jazz Festival.
From all the way downtown to all the way to Forsyth Park. Easy breezy on the dot.
Absolutely. Well, tell us all about the Jazz Festival this year. We know you've got some incredible new stuff this year. We want to hear all about it.
Okay, well, this is our 42nd Savannah Jazz Festival. There was one year during the Atlanta Olympics when we had two festivals. So this is our 41st year, but the 42nd festival. And it's probably our most ambitious lineup ever in terms of the type and quality of musicians. It's our biggest musical budget ever, thanks to all of our sponsors and the city of Savannah that supports all the free events in the park. So this year we have 4 ticketed events from the 18th through the 21st, leading up to all of the free events in the park. Mm-hmm. And so we'll have 17 free events on Saturday, the 22nd. Friday the 22nd and Saturday the 23rd. And we start out with our movie night at the Lucas Theater, celebrating the life of Miles Davis with a screening of The Birth of the Cool documentary. And the director, Stanley Nelson, and Miles Davis's son and his nephew will be with us for a Q&A after the film to talk about Miles Davis and the making of the film. And so that's what we start off on Monday night at the Lucas with that. And then we move to Ships of the Sea for Blues Night on Tuesday night. And then on Wednesday night, we have Latin Dance Night, which is always one of our best attended, really fun, hot Latin, jazz, salsa dance night. And then we go back to the Lucas Theater on Thursday, where we host the 2-time Grammy Award winners from the Charleston region, Ranky Tanky.
Wow.
They just won their 2nd Grammy, and they are now really low country musical royalty. And they sing, really, their music is based in one of the founding roots of jazz for this region in the Gullah music, the Gullah Geechee music tradition. And I mean, it is a fun time. They get ranky-tanky, meaning get funky in Gullah. And so that's what we're going to do on Thursday night at the Lucas Theater. And then we go right into the park on Friday, the 22nd, and all day Saturday, the 23rd.
Well, Paula, I can't imagine. Our CATCast viewers have got to be just absolutely chomping at the bit now to figure out which events they're going to make it to and so forth. Let's talk a little bit about the key to community engagement. Community engagement is a very important part of what we do. And obviously that is what this event is. It's engaging our community, and it's showcasing some of the very best of not only jazz music, but the very best of what Savannah has to offer. Can you talk a little bit about that too?
I would be happy to. You know, at Savannah Jazz, it's part of our organization's mission as a nonprofit organization to keep really great American blues, jazz, and related genre music accessible to all people. It's really, really important. You know, the jazz music has been working so hard since its birth at the early 20th century in uniting all races and classes of people. You know, it was really born out of the call and response tradition of the enslaved workers in the cotton fields. And so it was born out of a necessity to communicate with one another through all kinds of trials and tribulations. But going forward into the 20th century, it really has been working so hard to bring all people together. And that is why having 17 free shows is so important to us.
Oh, absolutely. One of the most important things I think about that aim that you have, which is an aim we have as well around equity, is this notion of not only using the music to connect people, but also showcasing, as you were talking about, all of these different cultures and peoples and races and backgrounds and so forth that can come together in this very common language of jazz music.
Absolutely. And it's the greatest feeling in the world to stand up on this band shell in Forsyth Park and look out at all the different every imaginable kind of person, and getting along peacefully through great jazz music. And so our performers really reflect the kind of diversity that's so important to us. So we have we've got 4 Latin acts this year. And that audience is growing. Our Hispanic audience is growing tremendously. And you don't see a lot of women in jazz. So that's one of our missions, is to present a lot of rising stars, a lot of female artists, and putting them on stage in the big spotlight. We've got a wonderful group called Jane Bonnet and Makeke, and it's an all-female sextet. And it's really, they're really inspiring. And, so we have young performers, we have seasoned performers, we have performers of every kind of gender and race and class, and that really comes through. And some of the genres that we like to feature too are sort of relatives or kissing cousins of jazz music, like Zydeco. Sure. So we've got Buckwheat Zydeco and the Ils Sont Partis band coming from New Orleans, and that's going to be really super fun. So it's going to be really a lot of high energy music to, keep our spirits high. We've had, a really rough time in this country and globally on a lot of levels. And we're about making people feel good together.
I think you're going to accomplish that. So now tell us, I know you probably shouldn't, but do you have a favorite in all this? Is there something that you yourself personally are just going, I can't wait to hear?
That's a really good question, because I'm always surprised. Every year, there's always something unexpected. Like, I didn't expect that. I knew they were good, but I didn't think they were that good. Right. There's some performance always blows my mind. So I'm looking forward to that surprise factor. But I'm really, really looking forward to Jane Bonnet and Makeke. I'm looking forward personally to Ranky Tanky, because that's just such feel good music, and I love the Latin dance night. I've taken salsa lessons and I've danced Latin dance my whole life. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's fun to dance.
We had a previous CATCast with the Savannah Philharmonic, similar to this, with the same sort of notion that music becomes a common way of connecting people. And that's what our whole mission is at CAT with public transportation, is to be able to get everyone to the places that they need and want to go safely and reliably and efficiently and so forth. So talk a little bit about that mission for you again. I know you've really kind of woven that thread through all of your comments, but talk a little bit about that mission to connect. And sort of bring us home with an invitation to the community here, the CATCast community, to turn out for the Savannah Jazz Festival.
Absolutely. Well, there's no greater art form than the art form of music, and jazz is America's original art form. Nowhere else in the world could jazz have been born other than America. And so we like to keep that tradition alive. We like to celebrate that tradition. And music moves people immediately. Even deaf people can feel music. You know, you feel it. It moves you immediately. It's visceral. It's a vibration, like you said, and it stimulates people more immediately, and I think more profoundly than any other art form out there.
I think jazz also really impacts you visually. You know, so for
it's colorful music.
It's whether, to your point of whether you may have some differing abilities than others, even for the differently abled in our community, whether that's a sight impairment or hearing impairment or whatever, there's all kinds of things about jazz that can reach you through all the other senses that really bring it home to you.
And what I love about the art form of jazz the most is that it's never the same twice.
Yeah.
Never the same twice. No. So that's why it's important to catch it live. Because you never know what's going to happen up there on that stage at any given time, because it's a conversation. You know, jazz is a negotiation, really. It's a lot of really great performers who have a foundation and they have a direction, but then it's a conversation and it's a negotiation really about life. It deals with every facet of life. And I think that's something that everyone can relate to. And that's why I love to see, you know, kids from Section 8 housing mixing with, you know, lords and ladies from London at the Jazz Festival. I mean, everybody's getting together, and it's a beautiful thing where, you know, class and race and abilities none of that matters.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, so bring it home for us now.
Okay.
Give us the dates, times, and that array of all of the events that our viewers can participate in. And then we will let you get back to the busyness of preparation.
My pleasure. That's right. So the festival is September 18th through the 24th this year. And we end up with School Band Day, which is one of my very favorite days of all, featuring the children. And you can get all the information, the full schedule, the full lineup, and even what to do in Savannah while you're visiting, where to stay, where to eat. We have tons of really great partners. The website is savannahjazz.org, savannahjazz.org, and it's got all of the information. The 4 ticketed events leading up to the free ones in the park are really affordable, and like the Miles Davis event is only $14. So we're keeping everything very affordable and accessible so we can try to be inclusive of everybody.
And don't forget, catch a cat to get there.
Catch your cat. Get the dot.
So thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon. Our absolute pleasure to have Paula with us. This was great to meet you and great to be able to talk about these common missions. Thank you again for joining us for this special edition of CATCast, and we'll see you again next month.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And that concludes today's CATCast. We extend our sincere gratitude for joining us on this insightful journey. The engaging conversation between Faye DiMassimo and Paula Fogarty has shed light on the powerful intersections of transit, community connectivity, and the upcoming Savannah Jazz Festival. And for you listeners, thank you for being part of this conversation. And remember that every connection, whether through music or transit, contributes to the harmony of our community. Until next time, keep embracing the rhythms that make our community truly special. Take care, and of course, catch a cat.